big news coming out today is the Buffalo Bills head coach Sean McDermott has been relieved of his duties. He has been fired, unfortunately, after his overtime loss to the Denver Broncos, 33-30. After going 13-6 in the season, we've seen the end to McDermott. I mean, already in the WhatsApp messages, Andrew, recirculated to each other, as well as I'm sure in different groups of NFL supporters and stuff like that. There was one or two who were like, "Oh, I'm really surprised. Oh my gosh!" And I was like, "Are you really surprised?" I mean, we've seen a lot of other big head coaches get sacked this year, and well, it's another coach biting the dust, as I've titled this episode.
Yeah, definitely. I think before the season started, I had him on what we called the warm seat, didn't we? When we were talking about the hot seat guys, and you wanted some other names, I put him on that because I did feel like if it was Super Bowl or nothing for him this year, because it's become a bit of a stalemate at the Bills in terms of what they do each year, similar to what you've had at the Steelers. They've just moved off of him a bit quicker than the Steelers moved off of Tom. They moved off together, but yeah, it's one of them. He's defensive minded. The offense has sort of never really progressed any further. He hasn't done a lot with it. It's very Josh Allen reliant, and the defense is not, a top 5 defense every year. So his side of the ball is not firing on all cylinders, and that's when you've got to start asking the question: is he the right guy, or is there someone? You've had the instance where teams have kept hold of a defensive coordinator as a head coach, and they've let someone go that's within their organization. We've seen Liam Cohen leave and go and be a good head coach. We've seen various other people go, and have you got someone? Steichen went. Have you got someone in your building that might be better suited? Should we move on and do something? I think that might be a case that we've got here, because they have retained the general manager, which I thought was a bit of a shock as well, because I think he's largely to blame for the lack of success as well.
Can the NFL refereeing body be sort of to blame a little bit as well after the controversial call that was made in the game with the name's just completely escaped me. Brandon Cooks obviously didn't get that turnover. Didn't get the reception, got the turnover by the book. It was correct. However, we've seen him go the other way, Adam. I mean, people were very much in arms, a lot of blame by coaches, players afterward, a lot of emotion shown by a lot of players as well. But yes, the GM may have not helped McDermott along the way, but it's fans and the Bills are right to be angry at the refereeing body.
Yeah, a little bit, I suppose. It kind of felt
it's a short straw to grasp at, I admit.
Yeah, it is. It's like I can kind of understand why they might be a bit upset with it. It did feel like it was a catch. It felt like he was down. And if it wasn't, then surely it's an incompletion, isn't it? Is that not?
Well, it never hit the floor, so it wouldn't be an incompletion, would it?
Well, no, because they were saying that he didn't. What was it, that he didn't survive the ground?
Yeah, he didn't. Well, I mean, the ball was still bobbling about, and he didn't have fully secure of it.
Right. Okay.
So the ball never actually hit the floor, so it would be an interception.
So it wouldn't be an incomplete, right? Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Because it's one of them things where a lot of people have come out and said that because they've slowed it down so much, that it makes it look like a shocking error. But it's a difficult one. I think you can understand why Bills fans, and this isn't the first time, is it, that this sort of thing has happened as well to them. So you can understand why they are frustrated and why they will point to other examples where it's been given as a catch for other teams. But I think really, if that's what you're going for is the real reason, then you're kind of not looking at the whole picture. You're kind of just going, yeah, it's, you're sort of, it's the easy thing to blame, isn't it? That seems to be what we're looking at the moment.
But at the point of the game that it happened, it is the thing to hold on, because if that is a catch, they probably go on and win the game.
Yeah.
It's not as if it happened early doors and you had the rest of the game to play out and you're going, oh yeah, but that one thing that happened in the first quarter.
I think the problem is that you could come up with little things throughout the whole game for everything.
And
I get what you're saying. I
and
do agree, but
and them instances that have happened repeat within the history that you said that there's been calls in other games in the playoffs that have also not gone their way. You know, that you've still been there since 2017. You know, only one losing season. You've been to the play. You had 16 games in the playoffs. You've gone 8-8. Only gone to the AFC Championship twice. Like yes, Andrew, you can hang your hand a little bit on that call. But ultimately, I always think it's we've had this before a lot of the times with Eagles, admittedly. If you're that good, win the game. Don't let the game be decided by a decision. That's always my belief with it.
It's two good teams playing each other. It's very hard to say if you're good enough, go and win the game, because they were close to winning the game, weren't they? You know, it's very, very close. One for you before we move off of this topic with that. It's already happened. It's not going to change. But have you seen the talk that people are saying that due to the fact that he wasn't down by contact, that means that the defender was also not down by contact. So when he got the ball, he ran out of the end zone at the other end, and people saying that should have been a safety and they should have had the points because he was not down by contact either. He ripped the ball out of his hands and ran off out the end zone.
Did Cooks not touch him at all then?
Well, it was during the going to the ground. So if he was touched and that was the case, then Cooks is down by contact, isn't he?
Yeah, well, that's what I think. That's the argument, isn't it? Yeah, that's what.
The defender is also not down by contact. By the time he got the ball off of him, no one's touching him.
So essentially, it has to be one way or the other.
Yeah,
and they've not done either.
Yeah.
So you're probably just dealing with the fact that the officials.
It's a grey area rule, isn't it?
Yeah. They've kind of just.
It's plain and simple. This is what's happened. It needs cleaning up a little bit, I think.
Just very quickly as well, because there's been a lot of talk of like, oh, you know, this has been done on purpose. They want the Broncos there and all that. So the NFL do not want their main showpiece game having Jarrett Stidham in it. I can assure you of that.
Or Bo Nix over Josh Allen.
Yeah, the narrative for the NFL would be they would prefer for
the Bills.
Television and sales and all of that. You want the Bills, don't you?
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Let's move off of the refereeing topic though, and back towards more the microscope of the Bills organization. Like I said, McDermott's been there since 2017. Only been to the he's been to the AFC Championship twice, but lost both of them to the Chiefs. But Brandon Beane, equally, their GM, has been there since 2017 as well. After McDermott gets fired, Beane actually gets promoted today to President of Football Operations, which is interesting. A little bit of that is because Sean was actually reporting straight to the owner, Terry Pegula, and that having this President of Football Operations thing means that the new head coach would be reporting to Brandon Beane rather than superseding him, I suppose. But and like you sort of aired to Andrew, Joe Brady is the current offensive coordinator, Adam, and he's been sort of the name that's gone to the top of the list a little bit, alongside another ex-offensive coordinator of theirs and ex-New York Giants head coach Brian Daboll, who's also available as well. Firstly, let's stick on Brandon Beane, I suppose. Do you think there is a blame to be laid there as well?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, I think, teams get injuries. That happens all the time. But I don't really feel like the Bills' wide receiver core got any injuries, did it, this year? I felt like they did pretty well.
It had a load of ACLs in the playoffs, didn't it? 3 ACLs.
Yeah. But I mean, I suppose what my point is the fact that you're bringing Brandon Cooks in off of a team that has been pretty poor for most of the season. He hasn't had a particularly great season, and you're having to bring him in tells you that this team is there's not enough quality in the wide receiver room. I actually think you can go further. There's lots of other places. I think the O-line is pretty solid. But the defense, I mean, the run defense has been atrocious all season. And you can't just
But
keep.
you think that's personnel over coaching?
Yeah, a little bit. I do. I get what you're saying. I do think. I think there's if it was me, I think it was time for both to go and move on and sort of refresh it, because it's just not working and hasn't been working for quite a few years now for the Bills. And although it's really difficult to say it's not working, because obviously they're getting in the playoffs and they're getting quite close to it and stuff like that. But for what they want, it's not working. So it feels like the talent on that team just isn't there. When I sort of look at it, I just sort of think to myself, if you look at the defense, I think Greg Rousseau is a really, really good player. Ed Oliver's good, but he's kind of been injured and he's getting a bit older now. Matt Milano's getting older. Benford's getting older. Tre'Davious White is getting older.
Benford's not that old, is he?
He's been around for a while.
Benford only got a new contract about
Benford's 25 years old. He's not been in the league that long.
Okay.
But just to keep on the point with that, it has been reiterated a lot of times that this team seems to be the outside, obviously, the Steelers, I suppose. I mean, within this weekend just gone by, they're the weakest squad out of everyone who was in the divisional round. And you just heard to it then. I mean, I've got all the drafts since 2017, since he arrived. And you have to admit, the first two, it's hit. It's Tre'Davious White, Deion Dawkins, Matt Milano. In 2018, Josh Allen, Tremaine Edmonds. Okay, he's still not there. He's not there anymore, but he was a big factor for them for a while. Harrison Phillips, who's a good player as well. I mean, Wyatt Teller's hilarious. He went to the Browns and had such a great career. But then we'll go past that. Yeah, Ed Oliver, Cody Ford, Devil Singletary, Dawson Knox. That was the 2019. 2020, AJ didn't have a first round pick, but AJ Epinesa, Zach Moss, Gabe Davis, Greg Rousseau, Boogie Basham, Spencer Brown, 22, Kyer Elam, James Cook, Khalil Shakir, Terrell Bernard. And then into 25, 24, 23, Kincaid, Osiris Torrance, Keon Coleman, Ray Davis, Maxwell Hairston, who just came out recently. It definitely boomed, Andrew, at the start. And actually, when I know I've read a lot of names there, but when you look in the grand scheme of their whole draft, it's not that top heavy, really.
No, well, they've hit on, for me, they hit on their quarterback, a tight end, and a running back, didn't they? The offensive side, they did hit there early, and then after that, there's not really a lot. They've always struggled at cornerback. They've always struggled in areas like that. And away from the draft, we're only talking about draft here. I think the main thing that concerned with me with a general manager when it's your team, your squad, and you're trying to win a Super Bowl is, what have they done other than pick these players in the draft, which they've had lots of draft picks in 2025, 2024. There was loads of them. What have they done? What has he done to go, we're going for it this year. This is our year. We're going to win it. Let's bring in some big names from elsewhere. Let's get some free agents. Let's trade for someone. At the trade deadline for this season, I mocked your Steelers for not going out and getting players, but what did the Bills do? What did they do to make sure Josh Allen had the strong squad? Like other teams, the Eagles, even the Chiefs, they make moves, don't they? When they're getting towards that, they know that they might be able to win it. They make moves, they strengthen the team, they bring in players. So I can argue he's not done that. What has he done to go, I'm all in this year, we are going to win it? And I don't think he's ever done that. He's just had his draft picks, picked what he thinks is right for the needs, and then gone, there you go. And I think that's all he's done.
The all-in messaging this year was Joe Bosa, wasn't it? Really, that was like the all-in thing, and really that was because the Von Miller thing, they didn't capitalize on it. They moved on from Von Miller. I mean, the amount of players they have moved on from, Stephon Diggs as well, who I know didn't do much in Houston, got very injured, but has been sublime for the New England Patriots this year and has really revitalized his career. And I'm not saying he's now going to have 3 or 4 great years ahead of him. This might be a 2-year done thing with New England Patriots, but he's definitely a culture setter within that locker room there. You can tell that with how he is around them. And as you said, where are the moves there? The wide receiver room is weak. James Cook is fantastic. Their offensive line is very good, but on the defensive side, that They've not been fantastic defensive wise this year. I mean, what were they? They're 12th best defense. They're amazing in the passing game, admittedly. But if you're amazing in that essence, then 28th in rushing yards. Yeah, why didn't they go and get another D tackle? Why didn't they go and get an edge rusher? Jalen Phillips, I know it's in division, admittedly, but Jalen Phillips, he got moved.
Plenty of names, mate. But and I'm talking 24, 25 as well. You know, the amount of draft picks they had, they could have just gone, I don't need all of them. I'm going to win a Super Bowl. I don't need 10 picks and 7 picks or whatever it is. You know, it doesn't scream, I'm the GM and I want a Super Bowl. It just screams, I just want to keep the wheels turning and just be in this cycle of getting to the playoffs and winning. And I've got Josh Allen, so it's fine.
I mentioned Brady and Daboll earlier, Adam. Do you think they are now the top 2 candidates for this role? Now that we have Harbaugh going to the Giants, Stefanski's now at the Falcons.
Well, I was thinking about this, and this is where maybe my because I haven't been watching it as long as certainly Andrew. I was trying to think of like their ex-head coaches. I've always kind of felt like they've been very much a defensive head coach type team. Like even before McDermott, they've never. I might be wrong, but it's always felt like as a team that's the way they've always gone down. Is what it's felt like to me. So, yeah. You see, this is
what do they have? Anthony Lynn was prior, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was defense, wasn't he?
They had Rex Ryan for a bit, and then where are we at then? I remember they had Mike Mularkey for a little bit.
I didn't realize I was on pause. I've actually got the list of it here. If you
pushing my knowledge after that.
So it was before Sean McDermott. It was Anthony Lynn for a bit with Rex Ryan. Rex Ryan got fired, and Anthony Lynn came in his own one. Rex Ryan for a year in 2015. Doug Marrone before that. Sean Gailey before that. Which is a name I don't know. But Perry Fuel, Dick Juron.
It just kind of feels like they're a bit more of that. That's kind of the angle that they usually go down. Which obviously would mean that bringing in someone like Daboll or promoting Joe Barry would go against that. But I do feel like, to me, it feels like he's the obvious one, Joe Brady. Like he's someone who's being touted as a head coach for other organizations. So why would you want to give that away when he's already there? And, I'll keep banging on about it. I think it makes sense given the fact that he has been with Josh Allen for these years. And the offense and Josh Allen, although we can come out and go, we feel like the wide receiver room is not strong enough and that they haven't brought in enough weapons for him, or more to the point, the quality of weapon for him. They've still gone away to Denver and put 30 points up. They're not a bad offense. And I know a lot of that
still led the league in rushing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I know that a lot of that is due to Josh Allen, but the fact that they can do that kind of goes to show that he's obviously got a good connection with Allen and it's working well. So I think that it would be wrong to get rid of that, because I think if they were to go for someone else, then there's a good chance that Joe Brady ends up leaving as well and becomes a head coach somewhere else. So I think that kind of makes sense. Go for him. He's already there. It's probably quite an easy contract to make, I would have thought. And obviously they're going to have to look for an OC, but Brady's going to be the play caller, isn't he? So again, it might just be a promotion from within again for that. So it doesn't feel too bad. I just think they're going to have to go out and get a strong defensive coordinator unless they're happy with the guy who's doing it already.
Me and Andrew brainchild before we came on is, what if Brady got the head role and Daboll came back as the OC?
I would be surprised if Daboll would be happy with that.
I think it makes a little bit of sense for him personally, but what do you reckon, Andrew?
Yeah, he's already trialed for a head coaching job. He's been interviewed with the Titans, hasn't he? But outside of that, it's all OC positions. I think the Eagles have shown interest in Daboll, and I think it was other teams had, and then it was college after that was suggested for him. So I don't know.
But surely he won't be play like calling the plays. If Brady's head coach, surely he doesn't call the plays then.
It depends what type of head coach Brady
Wants
wants
to
to
be.
be, really, doesn't it? You know, there's a lot. This is what people have always said. You could be the genius, like offensive coordinator, but once you become a head coach,
A
then
lot
you're
more.
dealing with the whole team. You know, you're dealing with all the defensive side of all the personnel, all the problems, all of the disagreements, all of everything like that. And it kind of takes a lot of that play calling away from you because you're dealing with putting out so many other fires and you're elsewhere dealing with stuff. So having a guy that's worked with Josh Allen and knows the organization well beneath you, if they're willing to work as a team, it's not a bad thing. The only bad thing for this is if it starts off badly, are you going to get the conversation of, well, just get rid of him and move Dayball up, or
Yeah.
you know, will there be a clash because it's two big personalities? That might become the issue if that does happen. So it makes sense to logically to go, oh yeah, Josh Allen's worked with him. He's the guy that unlocked Josh Allen. So we know he can work well as a coordinator, but he might not want to go back there. He might want an opportunity with like the Eagles, like I say. So it's in Dayball's court, really, isn't it? With that, if he wants to go and work with a bigger team.